Hi, folks. My name is Lily Liu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pinata. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can use Pinata to make paying rent suck a little bit less for your renters to help increase on-time rent payments and potentially even drive ancillary revenue per unit per month.
Welcome to the Rental Property Owner and Real Estate Investor Podcast, brought to you by the Rental Property Owners Association, where real estate investors have found success since 1968. I'm your host, Brian Hamrick from Hamrick Investment Group. This episode is sponsored by Green Property Management, managing everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area. Find out more at greenpropertymgt.com. And RCB and Associates, helping real estate investors and small business owners navigate the complex world of health insurance and Medicare benefits at rcbassociatesllc.com. Hello and welcome to episode 519. One of the biggest challenges for rental property owners is making sure residents pay on time and keeping them motivated to stay. My guest today is Lily Liu, founder and CEO of Pinata, a platform that turns rent into an opportunity for financial progress by rewarding residents and helping them build credit. Lily is a serial entrepreneur and innovator whose mission is to make renting more rewarding for both tenants and landlords. Today, she's here to share practical ways property owners can boost on-time payments, increase lease rentals, and create a better experience for their residents. Lily, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
I know you have a product, this Pinata product, that we're going to really kind of dig into and see how it can help both property owners and tenants. But talk about the genesis of that. What were the pain points? What were the challenges that you saw both renters and rental property owners facing that kind of led you to develop this product?
I think there's two main issues that we identified early on. Personally, I've been a renter and a landlord on and off, in some cases, both at the same time. And, I remember when I went to get my first home mortgage in my 20s, and I'd had about a decade worth of on-time and in full rent payments. I always love recounting this story. I came to the banker with all of my payment history on my rent, thinking that would be one of the data points to underwrite me as credit worthy for a home mortgage. And he laughed and said, "This is great, but we don't look at any of this in looking at your credit worthiness." And it boggled my mind that wouldn't be taken under consideration for whether or not I would be paying my mortgage on time and in full monthly. And so that always stuck with me. On the landlord side, one of our early investors, we used to always talk about some of the pain points in operating rentals, namely when you have a good renter that's paying rent on time, that's maintaining the unit, that's communicative, it's like gold. And so if we could take that renter or all of our renters out that are great renters for a meal, a coffee once a year, to thank them for being a great renter, that cost would be worth it for us as operators and owners of rental assets. And that's really the genesis of what inspired Pinata. Let's try to create a program that solves some of these pain points and ultimately improves renter retention and satisfaction.
From the renter's point of view, why is it that when you went to get your loan from the bank, they didn't look at your rent payment history? What were they looking at that you should have been taking into account before then?
One of the biggest things that they look at is your credit score and credit history. And so they were looking at all of my credit score and history information. They were looking at things like, Macy's credit card that I had opened years ago. These were the things. And that was, had a $50 balance on it. These are the things that they were looking at instead of the biggest monthly expense that I had been paying my entire adult life at that point. And so, things that was something that really stood out as a glaring flaw in the home ownership industry. Right? When we think about underwriting consumers to take on their next biggest monthly expense, which is their mortgage payment, let's use the best proxy for that, which is rent payment.
Speak to the renters who might be listening to this podcast. They're paying their rent on time. It's not going toward their credit score. What advice do you have for them?
The renters, it's a no-brainer move. And it's something that I think all renters should be doing. If you're paying your rent on time monthly, you should absolutely be signing up for, doesn't have to be Pinata, sign up for a service that gets that rent payment reported to not just one credit bureau. You want all three credit bureaus, because you can't control which score and report is going to be pulled. And listen, it's not just home ownership. It's a car loan. It's a credit card. It's your next rental. If you're looking to move into a nicer unit, rent a nicer home at some point, you're going to have to really hit credit thresholds and minimums. And we often get asked this, well, are either from owners or renters directly, our renters typically have really great credit scores. We don't think they'd be interested. Or renters say, my credit score is great. What's interesting is actually one of our biggest segments of users in the credit reporting service are actually renters with pretty good credit scores already. And the reason why they continue to sign up is, of course, they want to continue strengthening the history of their credit report. And so longevity of your trade lines is one of the factors. The bureaus want to see not just 3, 6 months, 8 months worth of credit activity. They want to see that you have built consistency year over year with some of these trade lines. And so that's what your credit reporting does. And it's only a net positive and benefit if you're paying your rent on time to have it reflected in your score. So we actually see very financially savvy renters and consumers with great credit scores that sign up because they understand the value and they want to continue contributing to a great credit score.
That's great for the renters and the tenants, but why should the rental property owners, landlords really care about any of that?
I talked earlier about, hey, when you have a great renter, it really is like gold. How do we maintain that consistency relationship and ultimately reward what we like to call good renter behaviors? And with Pinata, it's not just about the credit score and credit report. It's actually a holistic loyalty and rewards program. We like to call it one of the most accretive, rewarding rewards program for renters on the market. And for owners and operators, it's helping to incentivize all of those good renter actions, starting with the on-time and in full rent payment. That's one of the biggest pain points for many of our small to mid-sized owners and operators, cash flow, making sure that every month by a certain date, we can help them get that rent payment through the door. And with Pinata, renters unlock valuable points monthly. Those points actually put money back into their pocket. We focus not on travel and hotel points. We actually focus on real world value. So how can you use this at all the shops you're going to normally? How can you use this on food? How can you use this on utilities? Things that are ultimately going to impact your day-to-day life.
That's a good way to get into talking about Pinata, because this is the company that you founded and you've touched on it. But what is Pinata? What does it do? And how does it solve both the renter's dilemma and the landlord's challenges?
Renters, it's ultimately putting valuable dollars back in their pocket. One of the biggest stats that we always track is how families struggle to save even $500 annually. And with Pinata, they're putting hundreds back in their pocket year over year at brands that they know value and already spending money at. And so while for some, it may seem like a drop in the bucket, $300 a year, for most of our renters, it's impactful.
I'm not sure I'm following. How are they putting money back? So the renters are paying their rent using Pinata. And maybe you'll explain this when you explain Pinata a little bit better. But I'm not clear on where the money's coming from that they're putting back in their pocket.
So they're collecting points. They can save those points every month or spend those points. When they spend those points, they can decide, you know what? I want to spend my points at Walmart, Target, Amazon, Home Depot. I want to buy groceries. I want to buy toilet paper. Maybe I just want to buy some books and activities for my kids or my pets at these stores. So we really focus again on everyday value, home, family, pets, food. Those are the main categories that our renters gravitate towards. And then we have a fun category, right? So these are what we call treat yourself. And so we'll have things that are lifestyle based that renters can also redeem for. We've gamified a lot of it as well to make it new and exciting week over week for renters coming into the platform.
It sounds a lot like a credit card, like they're paying with a credit card and that's how they're racking up the points and then also working on their credit score at the same time.
Well, Brian, it's actually very similar. We call it credit card style rewards without the debt. And so you're not building debt as a renter. You're simply doing the things that your landlord wants you to do. Pay that rent on time. There's other incentives that landlords can add in. So there's maintenance incentives, there's lease renewal incentives, referral incentives. If you're in the single family home industry, you may need a renter to do certain things. It's much more efficient, like replacing the air filters that get shipped to you on a quarterly basis. So these are the things that property owners and operators can further incentivize in Pinata. But yeah, renters essentially are able to unlock those benefits just by paying their rent on time, and they're not building debt through an open credit card.
What is the cost to the landlord or the rental property owner?
Landlords, owners, and operators. So we work with third-party property management companies, landlords directly. They pay typically a per unit per month fee for every unit that they want to enroll in Pinata. Now, keep in mind, every renter in a unit has access to Pinata benefits, both rewards and credit reporting.
So there's a monthly fee per unit for the landlord. What is that monthly fee and how do they make that? Are they making it up in on-time payments or are they charging a little extra to the tenant? I'm not clear on how that relationship works.
So I'll say the fee is nominal and it really varies based on size, but can be a few dollars per unit per month. Again, it covers everything. So it's a rounding error for most of our owners and operators. Many of them will add in other incentives that they want a renter to take on their units. So, for our personal rentals, for example, we'll have other incentives that are valuable for us. Instead of sending a maintenance crew that's going to cost me a couple $100, we'll add in certain incentives for the renter to complete for our unit. So that's an example of if a landlord actually wants to add even more value for renter, they can.
I'd like to take a moment to tell you about Green Property Management. Not only do they manage everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area, they also manage my entire portfolio. So I can tell you from personal experience that their unique flat fee management style is worth a closer look. If you feel that your property isn't operating to its fullest potential, then Green Property Management can help you take a holistic approach that will save you money, eliminate your headaches, and increase your net income. And if you're a property manager interested in applying Green Property Management's model, give them a call at 1-866-95-GREEN or visit them on the web at greenpropertymgt.com. If you're thinking of leaving your W-2 job and becoming a full-time real estate investor, one of the greatest costs you must consider is healthcare for you and your family. When I made this transition myself, I found the whole healthcare insurance process to be confusing and frustrating. That's why I'm glad I met Chad Creasy at RCB and Associates. Chad is a professional health insurance agent who helps real estate investors and small business owners understand and choose their best healthcare options. And best of all, his services are covered by the insurance company and won't cost you a dime. If you live in Michigan and are expecting a change in your healthcare insurance coverage for any reason, or losing employer coverage or transitioning into Medicare, then you owe it to yourself to contact Chad Creasy at rcbassociatesllc.com. Let's say I own a 100-unit apartment complex and I'm considering this product as a rental property owner, manager, landlord, whatever you want to call me. Convince me that I should do this, like what the cost of it and the benefit that I'm going to get from it. Like, why do I want to use your product?
Multiple ways we pitch you on this one. The first is, hey, let's increase your on-time and in-full rent payments. We actually see a 20% increase in on-time and in-full rent payments about 6 months after you start Pinata. And that's just through the baseline rewards and credit reporting that your renters receive. If you ever are looking to refinance your properties, we increase your average credit score rating across your portfolio of renters by around 60 points. And typically it can be north of that the longer that you have credit reporting active for your units. And the third component is many of our groups will add Pinata as a part of a resident benefit package. And so when that's the case, you're actually generating ancillary revenue per unit per month with Pinata as well. So those are the three biggest factors when you're taking a look at Pinata.
I'm not clear on how I'm generating ancillary revenue. Like, what am I doing to increase revenue?
Resident benefit packages are popular. They're very popular in the single family home space. in the mid-market multifamily home space. We're starting to see it get adopted this year as well. And so it's essentially an additional fee that's assessed per unit as a part of the lease agreement with a renter. The additional fee ranges widely based on the list of services and amenities that the landlords are including in that fee. And so we've seen it range anywhere from $10 to $30, $40 a month. Again, it really varies based on what is included in that package. Typical list of amenities that we've seen in resident benefit packages are things like insurance, master policy, renters insurance coverage, Pinata rent rewards, Pinata credit reporting. Owners and operators may also add in things like one free locksmith a year if you lock yourself out. They may include other types of amenities like pest control services, or they may waive a late fee once a year. And so these are the list of benefits that are included. If, I'm sure most of our listeners will be very familiar with resort fees. It's a similar structure in the resi space that allows for owners and operators to add in additional amenities that go above and beyond what they're typically required to provide.
So it's an amenity package that I can offer my residents. They pay extra each month for it, but Pinata is servicing that package and providing the amenities that they're paying for.
Provide a number of those services, not all of that. Again, most of our owners and operators will customize and create their own package. So we provide the credit reporting and the rent rewards, and we also do have an insurance policy that allows for our owners and operators to provide to their renters. Outside of that, anything else that a landlord wants to add into their package, they certainly can. And again, it's their own package that they're self-managing.
Lily, talk a little bit about Pinata. I mean, when you founded it, how long ago was that? What kind of growth are you seeing? And what kind of results are you getting out there in the marketplace?
We founded the company right in the middle of COVID, which was interesting. And so, actually during COVID, what we found is we were able to get straight to the point with all of the owners and operators we were talking to. And so many owners and operators during that time wanted to find a way to build better relationships with their tenants and their renters. It was a stressful period in the real estate market, and especially with rentals. And so we got very targeted feedback during that time that they wanted a platform that could scale remotely. They wanted a platform that could really help improve the retention of their renters and ultimately help their renters financially on the credit score as well. So that's what we really focused on in the early days. And then since then, we've added a whole bunch of new features and components in the platform, but really investing in kind of the core pillars of what makes Pinata a great loyalty membership program for renters. And in terms of growth, we have over 1 million renters on the platform today. We represent a little over, I think it's close to 3,000 owners and operators. And that varies from small to mid-market. We do have some large enterprise groups as well that use Pinata across their portfolio. In terms of type of owners and operators, we do everything from Class A, Class B, workforce, affordable housing, and student housing. Where we don't really play that heavily in is luxury housing and alternate types of rentals. We don't have much coverage there as well.
What do you see as the future of Pinata? Do you continue to grow, expand? Do you have any new products that you're going to be offering?
Actually, this year, a few weeks ago, just rolled out with our early channel partners UI components. So what this means is we can now work with third-party software platforms where they can now easily embed Pinata components straight into their web and software experiences. What's great about this is Pinata gets access to a whole bunch of new renters and units across the country, but we're also helping now these channel partners to increase products, service benefits for their users. So they're increasing revenue, they're increasing retention and satisfaction across their renter and user base as well. I'll give you an example. We were selected by MRI Software, so they've now embedded Pinata as a core part of their rent payment product. So every month when renters log into MRI Software rent payments and to pay their rent, they can actually activate their Pinata account for credit reporting benefits and for rent rewards and points so they can use it in the Pinata marketplace. We have many other channel partners that have signed up this year. So we're very excited about now being able to support channel partners. Previously, we only supported properties directly and renters directly. Now we can support a whole slew of additional companies. And we're going to be rolling out a bunch of new features there into 2026.
Where is Pinata available? Is it anyone, anywhere can use it, or is it very local at this point?
You can use it in every single state. We are not yet abroad, so we're still US based, but every single state we have coverage, and points, rewards operate across the country.
Tell our listeners how they can find out more about Pinata, get in touch with someone from your company, and possibly use it themselves.
In using it yourself or for your property, or if you're a channel partner listening, check us out at pinata.ai to learn a little bit more about our services. And you can also reach out to us at contact@pinata.ai.
How are you using AI? And you seem to you obviously have a tech company. How is AI making Pinata successful? I mean, are you using AI, and in what ways?
Use AI internally. So again, I mentioned earlier, we have millions of renters in the platform. We have thousands of property management companies, and we've been able to keep a very efficient team structure. Namely, one of the biggest components is we've automated a lot of our key processes, and much of that is powered by AI tools. So we've used it internally in a big way. And then public facing, you'll see AI really start to impact the delivery of the rewards components in 2026. I can't talk too much about it, but I'll say we're very excited about it. It'll be an action-based layer that really impacts the renter's experience into next year.
Well, Lily, thanks so much for coming on the show today to talk about Pinata and kind of share some of the pain points of both the tenants where, the rent they're paying isn't really helping improve their credit score at all. In fact, in most cases, it's never recognized on their credit score, and how you're solving that problem for them. And then the pain points of the property owner, the landlords who, want to find ways to incentivize their residents to pay rent on time and give them some bonuses and possibly make some income along the way while they do it. So thanks so much for talking about Pinata and joining us on the show today. It's been a real pleasure.
So much, Brian. Thanks for having me. Good to meet you.
I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Brian Hamrick from Hamrick Investment Group, and you can find out more about me by going to higinvestor.com. That's higinvestor.com. This episode was sponsored by Green Property Management, managing everything from single-family homes to apartment complexes in the West Michigan area. Find out more at greenpropertymgt.com. And RCB & Associates, helping real estate investors and small business owners navigate the complex world of health insurance and Medicare benefits at rcbassociatesllc.com.
You've been listening to the Rental Property Owner and Real Estate Investor Podcast, brought to you by the Rental Property Owner Association. You can find out more at rpoaonline.org. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review.